Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another episode of LunarCrush Live. We've got a beautiful day here in Southern California. We're all just hanging out, and today we've got Yalulin from Melos Studios. We're going to be chatting with him, learning a little bit about what they're doing over there. It looks super cool. I was checking out some stuff. I was listening to some beats earlier. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to devise up some electronic, get back to the days of my trombone and clarinet and start just firing off some beats and selling it on there. I don't know.
There aren't many more interesting topics than crypto and music and entertainment, right? I mean, it's just amazing. Love talking about it.
Sweet. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So just a reminder, everyone, we do not take payment for our live streams. We bring on fun, cool, exciting people that have dedicated their lives and careers to the crypto space. Yalu looks like one of them. Make sure you can get in there and ask some questions and see if you've got anything for them. If you want to go check out the site right now and start getting on it, it is melos.studio. So get on there, check it out, and start asking some questions. We've got a bunch of great live streams coming up over the next couple of weeks. I think tomorrow we've got one with Ignite. We've got Pastel Network. We've got a bunch coming up. So get in there and hit that subscribe button to be notified. So without further ado,
Hey.
What's up, Yalu?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, dude. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
So we always like to start, where are you in the world and what's it like there?
Right. Oh, okay, sure. So excited to be here on LunarCrush. Thank you guys for having me here. So Melos Studio, and I'm currently based in Taipei, and it's the night here, or morning, like 1 a.m. So, but I'm very excited. So just so energetic, and I feel a lot of energy to be here. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for staying up late with us. We appreciate that. I know crypto is a 24/7 and startup is a 24/7, 365 job. So I know you're all over it. So I'd like to learn a little bit about you. Like, how did you get into the space? How did you start Melos Studio? Like, how did you get into music? Why crypto? Why these things together?
Of course, yeah. So my journey of crypto began in 2017. Was my first purchase of crypto, and then I started the technology, blockchain technology, and just fell in love with it and feel so fascinated about this technology, and kept on thinking and wondering how what changes it will bring to the world. And later on, I joined a project called MagiX, and it was also based in Taipei, and that was 2019. I joined at very beginning, and MagiX started as a music copyright token marketplace. So fans or collectors can purchase and trade music copyright on that. And we actually listed 59 songs from Golden Melody Award-winning artists. And just as a note, that Golden Melody Award is equivalent to like Grammy Award, but in Chinese Mandarin top music. So so one of the songs was actually listed on Binance DEX back that time. And I believe MagiX still is a project listed in Ethereum community, Ethereum organization webpage. So that's where I learned a lot about music industry and blockchain application. And I just couldn't stop thinking about music and blockchain ever since.
So you had these 59, that's super cool. You had these songs, and you guys would help with copyright with these artists. And so they would come in and they would basically list these on the platform, and then kind of similar where they would be selling some of this stuff, or it was like, can you talk us through that one a little bit? I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Oh yeah. So what we did was we did purchase those music copyrights, and we create a token for those, a bunch of tokens for those copyrights, and people who loves this song, who likes this song, a fan who likes this song, just come to our marketplace and purchase and hold those tokens or trade those tokens, those music copyright tokens, and the revenue that generated from this copyrights were also distributed to the token holders. So there was set of time, like twice a year, that we distribute them as we receive them. So that was pretty cool experience.
I'm so well. For starters, when was this? What year was this?
That was 2019.
So 2019. It's interesting to see what's happened since then, huh?
Oh
but
yeah, totally.
What was the artist's perspective back then in 2019? What were they thinking?
I mean,
what drove them to want to do this?
Right. There are a few. Well, there are some artists in the artist world. There are some artists that are really interested in this technology, and there are some quite conservative ones. They still don't want to join right yet. But what was interesting was that for those artists, some of them wanted to join, but some of them, even if they want to, their agent wouldn't want them to do that, because, like, agency and music copyright business is like, they're super conservative. That's something that they own. They don't want to sell it, or they don't want to distribute them in different format. So that was where this got tough. And later on, Matrix pivoted into a DAO, focusing on NFT curation, and that is actually how I first learned about NFT, and that, I believe that was in 2020, a year after. So, and then
before that,
NFT,
So before that, the songs themselves weren't NFTs; they were just like a digital file somewhere, and then now,
they were just tokens. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
Like
so much evolution.
Pro rata share of that or something. It's super interesting. I mean, and you think about that's like 2.5 years ago, and like the entire market is completely different now. It like, and it's like you guys are way out ahead of it. So, I mean, tell us, like, Melos Studio, like, tell us just like, what is it? Like, what are you guys building?
Right. So after that, me and another friend were talking about music and music creation on blockchain. So then that idea slowly became Melos Studio. And Melos Studio is a very unique create to earn ecosystem. We are enabling a co-creation process for music creation, very similar to like GitHub. You have original code contributor, and leave it on the website, and other people can come and add more to this work. And we think music music creation can be in a similar process. So through NFT, to write music mint music onto NFT, and the next person can come along, collect it, and add more music stems to it, and continue. And so it branches out into a creation process. So So how we came up with this idea was that there were a few problems. Well, after that Matrix project, we see there were a few problems with music industry. For one, was I saying, copyright management is pretty difficult. Like, copyright was invented something like 200 years ago, and it actually takes music, the virtual asset, but managed on paper. So it's messy and it's outdated. So it's difficult to manage. And in terms of marketing, music business marketing is pretty difficult. And in order to make a marketing process, you usually goes from the artist side. So what they can create, and then try to feed to their fans or their listeners, like one-sided, to feed their listeners to what they should hear instead of what they want to hear. So that's the second part. That's a problem. So there's no creation part of the joy for the listeners to discover new music. And also publishing is pretty difficult as well. It's all include all kind of paperwork or handwork or labor work. So and as a result, like, all the profit got diluted into between each sections of the publishing service. So it's also inefficient. So That's we try to create a Melos Studio, try to solve this kind of problem.
Yeah, it sounds
How
like,
do you?
I mean, the ultimate like middleman removal process right there, right?
Well, yes, and that can be done, or should be a better way to promote music. So, for example, if music's minted on NFT, like everybody can see it, it's accessible to everyone, then people who want to promote it, it's easier for people to promote it rather than, as I was describing, like music as a virtual asset that's managed over paper. So you can't really see or read how it should be managed. So, but with blockchain, with NFT, it's easier to see or file them or organize them or promote them. That's all together. With NFT, that's all going to be solved.
I'm super curious about the whole thing with IP, and you're looking at some of the maybe more successful NFT projects where the IP is yours and you can license it out and all that sort of thing. And
Right.
I'm curious, when you have, like, I think it was 2 days ago that Snoop Dogg like announced, you could buy some of his tracks with Ape token or ApeCoin, and you can do what you want with them. You have the rights to do that. How does IP and copyright work in that environment where you could have many different individuals that aren't necessarily in any sort of centralized group other than maybe like some sort of GitHub like repository? Like, how do you deal with copyright in that environment?
So our idea is that you mint a music stream, or the example I usually take is like this. So say Aditi has a music inspiration, or Snoop Dogg music inspiration plays out on piano and upload to Melos, mint as an NFT. And this kind of NFT, we actually call them music blocks. And this music block generation 0, I started with 0, and put on marketplace. And Bob comes along and sees Aditi's piano work, buys it, and he can add his guitar sound to it. And again, mint this generation 1 music block. And Camellia, say, comes along and sees Bob's work, which contains Aditi's piano, and she buys it and adds her drum, per se, and mint again as NFT. So each creation process is recorded on blockchain. So that's a proposal that we are giving to the music world to see how this can be done. And also, there's a good thing.
Good.
Sorry. There's a good thing with that. A few good things with that. First is that you actually see the interaction between the NFT, the content of the NFT, rather than just buying an NFT as collectible and let it sit on the in your computer or displayed as profile. You actually can interact with the content. And secondly, that since all the creations are recorded on chain, when the later generation of NFT is sold, you can trace back and profit share to all the collaborators or co-creators throughout the entire process, and that's actually powerful. And thirdly, very importantly, that eventually this will grow into, well, this is naturally a creator fan economy, and this kind of process will actually enhance it and eventually turn into a DAO or a new kind of ecosystem, a new kind of format between the creator and fan, where the fan can also be your co-creator. So that's something interesting that will be able to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces of this that are solving a lot of problems that are very public or have been very public. Like like Marvin Gaye, and like all the kind of little beats and things that have been kind of picked up by other creators along the way. And it's never a full song, right? It's just a little riff, a little piece of that song, which is kind of sometimes the special piece of that song that gives that lift or gives you that feeling. And they just try to lift that little piece, and then everyone's suing everyone 20 years later. And maybe the person had passed away, and it's like an estate suing people, and like the estate's all upset. But it seems like this world would be way more interesting, where it's like each little piece is built along the way, and over time you've got this kind of creation of a new thing, but it could be tracked back, and whoever kind of originated that first little piece of the song will get paid, I guess pro rata for whatever like contribution they've made. And that that to me seems like a much better world for creators to be involved with. And so are people creating and putting things onto the site? Are you guys kind of doing what you were saying before with the other project where you guys are also purchasing rights to certain songs and putting them on there? Like, are you guys doing a little bit of both?
Well, this Melos is kind of different from Magix. Magix officially buys the copyright. So Magix owns the copyright, and so it has entire right to distribute them. But in terms of Melos, it's more like the copyright is still with the creators,
right?
And what the creators should allow when they upload the songs for other people to co-create, they give part of the right for people to co-create only, but he or she himself still owns this copyright. So in the future, if this song she wants to release this song onto like Apple Music or Spotify, she has the entire right to do so. And if this song, okay, in my previous example, so Camilla was the final person who created this song and this NFT, and Aditi, the original creator, she can buy the Camilla song, and of course all the co-creators on chain, they can follow all the on-chain data and talk to all the co-creators, and together they will publish a song together, and they can discuss with the royalty and sign the agreement. It'll be a lot easier and more visible to see who owns what part of the royalty that's going to be divided later on. So that is something also quite interesting that we'll be able to see.
Go ahead, John, if you got one.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm sitting here thinking of like, I know that we're going through this massive shift between, centralized, labels basically to this kind of new paradigm of music. And I'm curious, what are all the elements, that make up Melos and what make up trying to, I guess, decentralize music? I mean, I was on your site. I know you have a DAO, you have a swap, you have a marketplace, staking, workshops. Like, what are all these aspects that make up Melos that I guess sort of take on the labels?
Okay. One problem, well, one of the perspective of like the angle I see the problem with the music industry that is to be solved is that every label company has a very limited resource. To some certain degree, they have limited resource. So there are so many different types of music around the world that the musicians or the music artwork itself, it's difficult for them to access to these platforms. So so our approach is that if all this music are on chain, like they're traceable, and you can prove that you are the original creator of this piece of artwork, and it kind of encouraged them to publish their songs on NFT. And besides, if you look at the profit wise, it's very difficult for them to make even $1 if they publish through streaming platforms. So NFT is a different opportunity or different platform, different method for them to express their music. And Melos happened to be able to do that. Since we launched late November last year, and we quickly grew into, for example, our Twitter followers like 130 plus K now, and we have like I'm sure we have more than. Thank you. We have like 900 independent artists or emerging artists to be onboarded or to be onboarded. And it's over 45 different countries. So if you go to Melos Studio, we have music from all over the world. I think this is everywhere. There's Turkish, there's like Russian, there's people from Philippines, from Thailand, it's everywhere, from India as well. So all variety of music. People do want to have a place or have a platform to speak out for their music, and they can't really access that through the traditional label or published music publishing channels. So that's the way out, I think. So like emerging artists, that's a very different story than these artists that's managed through the label companies. So
there's a pretty big shift there. I mean, if someone goes to a label, that label sort of does a marketing campaign. They do the typical, the ad buy, the distribution, the and then the artist ends up with 6 cents. And I was really interested because I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was listening to an interview with Steve Aoki, and he was saying that he did one NFT drop last year.
Right.
And in that one NFT drop, he made more money than all of his albums combined, everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's Steve Aoki. Well, but that's Steve Aoki, and I just think I'm like, he's famous. He's ultra famous. You go to Las Vegas, he's performing multiple times a week. He's got residents at clubs. He's got very successful albums and partnerships. But your maybe moderately successful artist still needs a day job. They can't even perform full time. And I think that's where there's such a interesting movement here, where the artists that maybe couldn't actually do music full time now possibly can and be very successful at it.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, that story is very that kind of story goes everywhere in the music industry. Like, there are so many musicians or people who work around music industry, not just the singing or performing artists, but people who write songs, but they don't, they don't sing, but they write songs or they write lyrics. They are still a very important part of the music industry, but it's difficult for them to showcase or present their music artwork. So I think we need a lot of platforms like Melos. I'm sure we need a lot of platforms like Melos for them to express or to give them opportunities. So that's what we see on Melos. Like, everybody's uploading music and maintenance NFT, and good thing is that people are supporting them. They are not very expensive, but it is very important for them to, even if it's first purchase for them, it encourages them to move on, to continue working in music. So I think that's something very important.
Yeah, Lou, what kind of team does it take to build something like this, where it's like you've got kind of like token DeFi side of things, you've got like people trying to organize what may be a DAO in a way, then you've got people that need to understand like what do like creators want, like what do the musicians want, how do they want to distribute stuff. So like, how do you kind of think about building like a team around this?
All right, thank you. Well, everything, this has to go step by step. Like, we were aiming, we're quite ambitious, and we're aiming something very big, an entire ecosystem. For start, that I was saying just a few minutes ago, as me and another friend, who's actually, his name is Jim, and he's another co-founder of Melos, and he has been a musician. Like, he learned about music since he's very young. Since his childhood. So he's the part of the musician side, and also he has been a tech developer for over 20 years now. He worked in Java virtual machine. Like, he was one of the first to work in the Java virtual machine in Japan a long time ago. So he's both music and technical savvy and experienced. So that's me and him who started with this idea, and actually writing them down on white paper, and writing these ideas down on white paper. And very soon after, we also have Vera and Leo joining us. Leo is the CTO. He's a very senior coder and developer. He actually built the entire prototype of Melos. We actually built it in Ethereum first a long time ago, and then kind of because of the gas fees, and we kind of had to switch to BSC. And then we also have Vera, who's very experienced in marketing and PR as well. So they've been like four of us started working on this and building the entire prototype. And then later on we have other people to join us as well. And also we have some pretty good supporter, founder and supporter. For example, Binance Labs, Dapper Labs, Innovian, NGC Ventures. They're very good friends and been very helpful. And also have a crypto PhD, been helping us with a lot with the community side as well. So, I mean, I'm sure we cannot achieve what we have today without them. So they've been super supportive and super helpful. There's a lot of guidance and everything. So very happy for them and very grateful to them.
That's awesome. And it's interesting to think about having, you know, that strategic decision to at some point be like, well, our app or our dApp cannot exist on one platform. We have to migrate over to the other platform. Right? Like, it's just like a decision that so many projects have to make, and they have to think through the different blockchains that are available and what's available to them, and then they have to move. And it's just like it's just a decision that most like companies or projects never had to make before, that everyone in this Web3 space is now thinking through. And so, like, how did you make that decision for like now BNB chain, right? Versus maybe moving somewhere else?
Well, BSC, the gas fee for BSC is low, so I think that's just a very sensible, easy decision to make. And at the same time, it's still on the same. It's still working on the virtual machine, the same EVM. So that was quite an easy decision to make for us. So I think that's that.
Anything, you got another one, John?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I'm really curious on, you know, you're building this whole ecosystem for music creation and rights and really like supporting the artists. I'm curious on the other side, you know, the access point for consumers and how you view that. You know, currently, many consumers are accessing music via Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. You know, there's a few services out there that really lack support of the artist. Those artists are not making a lot of money on any of those. So how do you see that side of this evolving? You know, and I know there's several players in this space, but where do you see that going?
We've had this conversation with our team internally. Like, there are a few arguments. First is that some artists, because a lot of artists, as we were saying, a lot of artists already has they have to have their own daytime job. So they kind of give up how much they can profit from the streaming service. They do want their music to be heard. So so later on, maybe one day, they become famous. Well, somebody hears their music and likes them, and eventually they become famous. But I think through NFT, because we can sell them more directly, so the music more directly, and they can gain the profit more directly. So I think that is going to encourage all this independent or emerging artists, musicians onto Web3. They can still continue their streaming service, but they can still do that. Copyright still they still own the copyright, but they also can sell their music NFTs on Web3 space. So they just have more choice, and I believe they will move very quickly into the Web3 platforms.
So do you see like Apple and Spotify adapting to where they're going to buy that NFT, license that NFT from the music creator? Like, how do you see them, you know, short of an entirely new platform coming out, which I know a lot of people talk about doing? That's very difficult. Very difficult. Takes a decade. Takes a long time. So
yeah. Well, yeah. If we've never heard anything about from Apple Music, but I know we heard Spotify is recruiting Web3 developers, but we are not sure if they are trying to sell them as NFT, or what kind of NFT they're trying to market. So that's the part that we're not sure. But yeah, I'm sure that they should be studying how Web3 movement is going to work and how that's going to turn out. And so, and yeah, we are happy if they move into Web3, because that would change the entire music industry and eventually help all the musicians and artists. So that's something we would love to see as well. Yeah.
So on that note of Apple and Spotify getting interested in Web3, these are big corporations, right? These are corporations where profits go to those corporations, not a token, not a DAO. So I guess my question is, how do you see a DAO? You're a DAO. Like, how do you see a DAO fitting into this community, and how does it benefit the creators?
Right. So, well, they are big companies, and they were focused mainly on the bigger artists. So, I mean, I think that there are just so many different music around the world to be discovered, and I don't think there is. I don't think there's any part of the market that's going to be saturated in terms of music. And one example I really like is that there is a lot of music being undervalued, and for example, background music for games, they are designed to be in the background and not to distract the people who are playing the game. So people kind of forget about them easily, but they are important. They are valuable. I mean, you can't have a good game without good music, background music. So that kind of music should value a lot more than. And I don't know if Spotify or Apple Music will treat them fairly, I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's almost like, it's like if Spotify had a NFT model. It's like, well, here's your NFT with still like no money. We're still not going to pass along anything to you, right? Like now, but you have it in NFT. It's like, I feel like the big artists, they understand NFTs now, and they've seen it out in the marketplace. And if someone like Spotify were to try and go about that, they would say like, well, like, you're still the middleman, right? Like there's this huge chunk of value that I'm not seeing as a creator. I'm gonna go do this myself, right? So it's like there's, I feel like with you guys are well positioned, regardless of like, the spectrum of whether someone's a superstar or not, to say like, well, this is the place I go to launch what I'm doing and get most of the value, or at least a larger percentage of the value than I'm getting right now on Spotify. Like I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah. So yeah, we are. What we have in mind is trying to help all kind of artists, whether or not you are a big name or say street performing musician. We do want to have a place for you to be heard. So that's where we are.
Yeah. To switch the topic, well, maybe it's related. You have the Melos token. Tell us what is the use of that token, and how does it fit into your ecosystem?
Right. So Melos Token is going to be a DAO token as well as a utility token. And the DAO part is that later on we're going to launch our DAO section where you can vote and propose different ideas, and for the community to discuss and eventually vote and decide. And there's going to be 5 different membership levels and 3 different topics, which 3 main topic sections. So each will have its own maximum voting number and voting weight. So we propose this kind of structure for DAO to begin with. And of course, it can change later on through DAO voting as well. And actually, it's on a white paper. So if you go to our white paper, we'll be able to see that. And for the utility part, there are a lot of functions that Melos has brought or is bringing. So, for example, the workshop where actually music newbies like this a lot. It's a virtual piano, and you can just key in the music notes and like 2 to 3 music notes. And the workshop, we have the artificial intelligence assistant. I would just help you complete this song. So it's actually quite fun. We have a lot of people come to Melos and play with that workshop. And the advanced functions for the workshop you'll need to use Melos token to gain access to. So yeah, so some things like that. And we're also creating a tool we call it Sonus NFT. There are a lot of picture NFTs out there, like profile picture NFTs. And with Sonus, we can create a piece of music for your profile NFT. So we create a background music for it, and mint us a new NFT with that. So each music NFT from Sonus is going to be unique, and it's going to be related to your profile NFT. So that is going to require Melos token to be able to mint. So things like that are going to be fun and interesting to bring to the music part to the NFT space.
That's really, really exciting. I mean, how do you see the governance side of this? Like, I'm thinking, like, if I was really good at, say, drums, and I wanted to lay down some tracks, right, and I want to throw them in there, and then I'm saying I want someone to add some keyboard and some voiceovers to this, and so it's almost like you've got these mini governance processes. Like, what if 6 people record a track, and I'm like, we want to pick one of them, and then go to the next leg of the song, and then I'm just thinking there's almost these governance processes on a song by song level. Kind of fun.
Right. Yeah, it is going to be fun. Like in our design, there's going to be a sound engineer, or we actually call it sound designer, but it's more like sound engineer in the probably sound engineer in the traditional music industry. So the designer is going to pick all different stems and mix and match and put them into this Sonus machine. And so, for example, there could be like 12 different stems of music and sort of loops of music, and Sonus is going to mix and match them randomly and produce like hundreds of different songs. So different unique songs. So yeah, things like that. So it's going to be fun interface and fun to play music this way.
So how big is this opportunity? How big is the market for you?
Big's the market. We are trying to create that into business style. So for example, a project that does not have any background music, it's a profile like picture only NFT, they can work with us. So give them an extra function or utility for their holders. So I don't know, like the market is going to be big. Like there's so many profile picture NFT out there. So yeah, it's going to be, I think that's going to be very exciting and a lot of fun.
It seems like a tough question to answer, because it's sort of like if we were talking 2 years ago,
right.
People might have questioned it, and now today they think the market opportunity is in the trillions, and it's like, right, you're somewhere in the middle probably. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I think the entire music NFT industry is just beginning. Like so the potential is going to be huge. Like yeah, we are at the very beginning of this business. So yeah,
I agree with that. I feel like it's one thing to take like a fully complete album and then like sell 100,000 NFTs on that, and like that gets reproduced. It's another thing, which, like, think about all the things that come from that, from like concerts and like gear and everything else, and like now they're selling NFTs on top of that to whitelist for other NFTs. It's like there's a huge opportunity, but it's almost like it becomes exponential when you take that album and you like break it down into all the pieces that come together, and like each one of those things could be replicated or reproduced in a new way, where it's like, I feel like someone's going to come onto your site and have just like a one thread of an idea, and like, it's not even just music. It's like, well, what if I want to like request someone does the album art, right? And then they're going to get a piece of it by doing the album art, or like, you know, they get a piece of it by pushing out the growth. They're like, what if we have this cool little DAO and we're like, hey, we now want to get this idea out to the world. It's like one click button goes to these like influencers, and then they get a piece of this like little thing. It's like each one of those little things is its own like entire business and organization. And it's like, that's a massive opportunity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. We knew it's going to be a DAO from the very beginning, because the beginning thought is that music is something very well. Each region or each local cultures, they have their own taste or their own preference of music. So so in terms of how music NFT can be played around the world, we have to see the global perspective as well as the local perspective. So we wanted to have a DAO so that so for example, we can divide into different regions. So each region will eventually develop their own music culture, and they can also join us together to if so for example, somebody from this region is actually interested into a different type of music, they can have they still can find it from our platform. But if they like this particular part of the music, they can use our platform to create music and to interact with music with the local culture. So we kind of want to have divisions of the DAOs. They can interact between each other. So yeah, that's the origin idea about the DAO. Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking, I watched the Kanye West documentary on Netflix recently, and I look back and I'm thinking like, he wanted to be a rapper, but everyone looked at him as a producer. But technically that would mean the whole time he was a rapper, right? He was rapping the whole time. It's just that the industry really liked his beats, right? And I'm thinking, what would the world look like if Kanye was doing that today, where he could just direct to consumer release his voice instead of just his beats? And what would that look like? You know, like let the community decide what's good and what's not versus what a label does.
Exactly. Yeah. So saying label company or music publishing or marketing, they go one-sided, pretty much one-sided. So sometimes they treat the artist as a product. So I don't know, but the artwork itself has its own life, like it has its own spirit and life and its own energy when it's being released or published. So we think the community should work on or decide as a whole, like as a community together, as a group together, how this music artwork should eventually grow into or evolve into. And yeah, so I think that's where it's fun with Melos Studio.
Exciting, super great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about just like your community and traction a little bit, and like it looks like you got some pretty big backers as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, Binance and Dapper Labs and Novian, NGC Venture and Crypto PhD, they do help us a lot and also bring us a lot of attention, and that helps us to grow the community quite nicely. And right now we have 5 million languages like Russian, Vietnamese, Philippines, Thai, Turkey. I think we have. We also have Persian as well. So yeah, we have pretty many different languages, and we are continuing to grow. So we do want to have more different different languages to be involved.
And what about the like musician backers as well? Didn't you have some pretty big names there?
Right. Yeah. We have Trey Song, David Bowie from David Bowie Foundation, and we also have Method Man and the Wu-Tang Clan, the band, the group. So I think they are pretty nice, and they actually liked our idea. So mean, of course, David Bowie is from David Bowie Foundation, but they like the idea, so I think we've been working together for a while. And we also have Queen, the iconic rock band from London, UK, and we are doing a NFT sale for Queen on its marketplace. So there's going to be 17,698 Queen music NFT mystery box on sale on Binance Marketplace on the 25th of March, which is tomorrow.
Seems like a pretty big thing right there.
Yeah, please come and support us, support all the musicians.
Well, okay, tell us more. So you said Queen. I didn't quite catch the number, and it's on Binance Marketplace.
Yeah, it's 17,600. Sorry, say it again.
17,698.
Yeah. 98. Sorry. Yeah.
And so what will so the holders of the Queen NFT, what will happen? What do they get?
There's a price roll. We're going to have price to be shared. We have waypoints on our platform, which is a system-wide credit point that people can collect and upgrade your membership level. And later on, it's going to be associated to the Melos Token and mining as well. So that is going to be something that we as a reward for people who buy them. So people to collect them and buy them, there's going to be a waypoint to be rewarded, and those information will be officially released on Binance webpage. So it might be already on now because it should be on. So go in and see with those. It's gonna be fun. Thank you.
There we go. It's in the
in
the chat. I don't think this will fit up there, but there you go. There's the URL.
Binance has to work on their share URLs. We got to get them like a bit.ly link or something.
There you go.
So it looks like 26 BUSD, 17,698, and it looks like 1 day, 18 hours, 6 minutes, 31 seconds and counting.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I love it. And I saw some Trey Song stuff up there on the site, and I was listening to that. That was pretty cool. And it was just kind of like this repeated kind of cool beat that was out there. And I mean, it was like, and it was cheap. It was like, it was pretty cheap. I was like, so if I was going to go in and like purchase that, right? Like, I have the rights to use that like in a song. Do I have the rights? I can't actually purchase and own that going forward, right?
Well, there are some stones from Trey Song and David Bowie that we're going to release for people to use on our platform through our workshop. But with those some of the NFTs you can play with the NFTs. We've launched a few series of NFT, and each of them has different functions. So, for example, the Trey Song will be able to use as mining and NFT mining later on. And for David Bowie, I believe we also and Trey Song will also have the gamify that we're going to release later on. So we have the different utilities that's attached to each different series of NFTs that we launched. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. So you got that coming up. You got the Queen NFT. Anything else in the near future you want to drop today, or what the community can look forward to coming up?
Right. Middleman and Wu-Tang Clan is going to be next after Queen. So that's going to be cool. So stay tuned. And Melos Token also was launched last week, so you can look at them up as well. I don't. We won't do that, but yeah, it's also launched on KuCoin and LBank and MEXC, so you can look them up as well and join Melos family.
Nice. You have a few things going on. It sounds like that's incredible. in any other industry other than crypto, you'd be talking about 5 years. So that's very exciting.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate you joining us. We really I had a great time learning about Melos Studio. I'm excited. I want you to come back on here in a couple of months, and I want to see how some of these drops went, and hear a little bit more. But thank you, man. I know it's late there. Thanks for staying up with us. John, as always, it's a pleasure, and everyone out in the audience, we appreciate it. So Yalulin from Melos Studios, thank you very much, my man. We'll chat with you backstage.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.